A bowl of lentils sends a signal to your mitochondria. That sounds like the opening line of exactly the kind of video I usually spend my time correcting. So let me show you the actual study, and then show you something I found in the press coverage that I think is more useful than the finding itself. The paper came out in Nature Cell Biology in May of this year, from a research group in Cologne. Let's start with a piece of cell biology I didn't properly appreciate until I went through this. Your mitochondria are wrapped in two membranes. On the outer one there are gateway proteins. Their job is import. Raw materials arrive from the rest of the cell, and these proteins are the doors that let them in. Fuel molecules, enzymes, cofactors, everything the machinery inside needs in order to produce ATP. Now here's the part that surprised me. Your cell demolishes those doors. Constantly. Deliberately. There's a quality control system in your cells whose job is to identify proteins that are damaged, misfolded, or simply no longer needed, tag them, and send them for destruction. It's an essential system. Without it, broken proteins accumulate, and that causes real problems. And these mitochondrial gateway proteins are on its list. They get turned over as part of normal housekeeping, which means the number of doors on your mitochondria at any moment isn't fixed. It's the result of an ongoing balance between building them and destroying them. That's the setup. Now here's what the researchers found. Leucine tips that balance. Leucine is an essential amino acid. Essential in the technical sense, meaning your body cannot manufacture it. Every leucine molecule in you arrived in food. It's in meat, in dairy, in beans and lentils, in most protein-containing foods. What the team found is that when leucine is abundant, it reduces the activity of a specific protein in that quality control system, called SEL1L. Turn that down, and fewer mitochondrial gateway proteins get tagged for destruction. More doors survive. More raw material gets imported, and the mitochondria can raise their output. The first author described the logic as cells being able to swiftly adapt to increased energy demands during periods of nutrient abundance. I think that's an elegant piece of biology. Food arrives. The cell reads that as a signal that resources are available. It responds by preserving the import machinery so it can build capacity while conditions are good. Your mitochondria are reading your dinner. All right, now the part that I actually want to talk about. When this study reached the public, the headline on one of the largest science news sites was, "Scientists discover the nutrient that can supercharge cellular energy." Supercharge. That's the word. Now here is what the study's first author said. In the very same press material, she said that modulating leucine and these protein levels could be a strategy to boost energy production. And then immediately she said this. However, it is important to proceed with caution. That quality control protein also plays a crucial role in preventing the accumulation of damaged proteins, which is essential for long-term cellular health. Read that alongside the headline. The scientist who did the work is explicitly warning about the strategy the headline is selling. And that warning did not make it into the headline, because caution doesn't travel. And once you understand the mechanism, her caution is obviously correct. Look at how leucine produces the effect. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't build new machinery. It works by turning down a disposal system. That's genuinely useful in the short term. When food is abundant and energy demand is high, temporarily preserving your import machinery is a sensible adaptation. That's presumably why the mechanism evolved. But the disposal system exists for a reason. Its whole job is clearing out damaged proteins before they accumulate. Suppressing it briefly is one thing. The idea of suppressing it hard and continuously in pursuit of more energy output is a very different proposition, and nobody has tested where that leads. One of the descriptions of the finding put it well. Rather than broadly slowing protein recycling and causing a chronic buildup of damaged proteins, leucine seems to temporarily preserve those gateway proteins. Temporarily. That word is doing a lot of work. Now let me give you the other limits because there are two more. First, the organisms. This work was done in the nematode worm C. elegans and in human cell lines growing in a dish. Those are excellent systems for working out mechanisms. They are not people eating meals. There was no human trial here. Second, and the researchers raised this themselves, they found that disrupting leucine metabolism had consequences beyond energy in their model organism, and they flagged the pathway as something to consider carefully in other contexts. When a research team volunteers reasons for caution about their own finding, That's worth listening to. It's the opposite of what usually happens. So what should you actually do? Here's the honest answer, and it's dull. Eat protein with your meals. That's it. That's the entire practical implication. Leucine is abundant in ordinary protein-containing food: meat, fish, eggs, dairy, beans, lentils, tofu. If you eat protein at your meals, you're supplying leucine, and this mechanism is running the way it evolved to run. You do not need a leucine supplement. And I want to say something slightly stronger than that. Leucine is sold in isolation in fairly large doses, usually as part of branched-chain amino acid products. Those have been marketed for years, and this study will absolutely be used to sell more of them. But this study is not evidence for that. It's a mechanism paper in Worms and Cell Lines, and the researcher who wrote it went out of her way to say proceed with caution about pushing this pathway. Taking a large isolated dose of one amino acid to deliberately suppress a quality control system is not what the paper found, and it's not what the author recommended. Food supplies leucine in a context, alongside all the other amino acids at moderate doses a few times a day. That's the version this mechanism evolved with. Now, where my own recommendation sits, and it's off to the side as usual. Those gateway proteins import material that eventually feeds the electron transport chain. CoQ10 is one of the carriers within that chain, moving electrons between complexes. Levels tend to decline as we age. That's a different part of the system from anything in this study. Nobody has tested a supplement against this leucine pathway, and I'd be doing exactly what I just criticized if I implied a connection. If you want to support that machinery on its own merits, the link in the description below is an affiliate link to Mitochondrial, which is PQQ and CoQ10 with a 90-day money-back guarantee. And if you want a channel that reads past the headline to what the researcher actually said, subscribe. This video is educational only, and it's not medical advice. Talk to your doctor before making significant changes to your diet or starting supplements.